Why do so many men today, surrounded by more comfort, technology, and opportunity than any generation in history, feel fundamentally weak? Why, despite having access to everything, do they feel an emptiness that nothing seems to fill? The answer is a secret hidden in plain sight. We are living in a silent epidemic, not of lack, but of excess. An excess of wasted energy. Most men today live like a ghost ship, adrift on an ocean of distractions. They have a powerful engine inside them, capable of crossing continents and weathering the most violent storms. But the rudder is broken and there is no captain at the helm. And so, they float, moved not by an inner direction, but by the external currents of the algorithm, the tides of others' opinions, and the waves of their own uncontrollable impulses. They wake up, they work, they consume, they sleep, they repeat, but they do not live. They react. They react to the email, to the notification, to the desire, to the neediness. And at the end of the day, exhausted, they wonder where all their strength went, not realizing it was spent in 1,000 small reactions, in 1,000 small leaks of slow, invisible hemorrhage of their own power. But there is a moment. It comes for everyone, usually in the silence, usually when you are alone. It is a moment of uncomfortable clarity, a dissatisfaction that can no longer be ignored or anesthetized with the next video, the next drink, the next pleasure. It is a question that erupts from the depths of the soul. Is this it? Did I come all this way just to be this? You look at your life and you feel that something is missing. And deep down, with an honesty that scares you, you know this lack is connected to you, to the strength you feel but do not control, to the desire that moves you but also brings you down, to the power you avoid looking at head on. This is not a sign of weakness. This is the most powerful signal a man can receive. It is the hero's call. It is your inner fire, which has been smothered for so long under the ashes of mediocrity, finally roaring, demanding attention. We are not talking about sex as society presents it, a quick consumption, a product, a relief. We are talking about energy, the raw material of creation, an invisible force that dwells at the center of your being, a pressure that builds in your gut, rises up your spine, takes over your thoughts, and if you do not learn to wield it, it will inevitably wield you, dragging you into the same old cycle. The great psychologist Carl Jung said that what we do not confront within ourselves, we will meet as our fate. And for many men, their fate has been to live dominated by a force they never learned to honor. Here, at this very moment, your journey begins. The first step is not to fight, it is to stop running. The next time you feel the desire pulsing, and it will come. For it is the sign that you are alive. Do not treat it as a problem to be solved, or an itch to be scratched. Treat it as a sacred signal. The alarm has sounded. The power is available. The energy does not have to be dissipated. It can be directed. Imagine a wild, raging river. In its natural state, it runs without control, knocking down trees, eroding the land, flooding villages. It is pure chaotic force. Most men live their lives drowning in this river, but a wise engineer looks at the same river and does not see destruction. He sees potential. He decides to build a dam. He studies the flow, builds a structure, and then, with precise channels, directs that immense force to move turbines. And the same power that once destroyed now generates electricity, lights up cities, moves the world. Your sexual energy is that river, and you have only two choices. Either you continue to drown in it, or you learn to become the engineer of yourself. And how is this done? How do you build the first dam? Start with a simple, yet revolutionary act, a conscious break, when the urge comes on strong. Before you reach for your phone, before you surrender to the fantasy, pause, just pause, for 30 seconds. Breathe deeply, through your nose, feeling the air go to the bottom of your abdomen. Bring your attention to the pressure in your body. Feel the heat. Don't try to fight the energy, don't try to expel it, But also, do not give in immediately. Just stay there, present, in silence, like the calm observer in the eye of the hurricane. This is your first victory. It is the moment you prove to yourself that you are not a complete slave. Your mind will scream. It will find 1,000 logical justifications to make you give in. But remember, you are not everyone else anymore. If you are here, listening to this message, it is because something inside you is ready to go beyond the programming. And after the pause, the next step, transform the impulse into action. Not a reactive action, but a conscious, creative action. Train, write, study, work on your most important project. Call someone you love and offer them your presence. Go for a walk with purpose. Channel it. Sexual energy is fuel, and fuel is only dangerous when there is no engine to receive it. Your engine is your mission. But I don't have a mission, you say. Start looking for one. The energy itself, when contained and redirected, will help you find it. The more you practice this cycle of containing and channeling, the more the mental fog dissipates. The ideas return. The willpower reappears. The clarity comes back. In the myth of the hero's journey, this is the moment the character hears the call and makes the decision to leave his comfortable village. He doesn't know what he will find. He has fear, doubts, uncertainties, but something pushes him forward. Something that will not be silenced. Something that demands transformation. You are at that point now, and your inner dragon, this wild sexual energy, is not your enemy. It is the creature that, when tamed, becomes your most powerful mount. It is the fire that, when contained, becomes your brightest light. It is the desire that, when honored, becomes your greatest power. This, as you can already feel, is no ordinary journey. It is the road less traveled, the road of mastery. The Neuro Alchemy channel is the map for this territory. Every video, a key. Every insight, a portal to the next phase of your training. If you have heard the call within these words and are ready to answer, subscribe to take your first official step on the hero's road. It is your yes to the adventure. Now that you have accepted the call, let's make the first crossing. You have accepted the call, but between the decision and the destination, there is a guardian, a formidable sentry that stops most men from even beginning the journey. This guardian is habit. It is the autopilot. It is the neural superhighway that has been paved in your brain by years of repetition, where every stimulus of desire leads, inevitably, to the same destination, the discharge. Crossing this threshold is not an act of brute force. It is an act of strategic intelligence. You are not fighting your energy. You are redrawing the map of your own brain. Neuroscience shows us that every habit operates in a three-part loop. The cue, boredom, stress, an image you see. The routine, the act of seeking porn and masturbating. And the reward, the chemical relief of dopamine. Your mission as the hero is not to eliminate the coup desire, will always come but to interrupt the routine and install a new one. It is here that you learn to use your first and most important weapon, the sacred pause. Stoic philosophers and meditation masters knew it, and the neuroscientist Viktor Frankl confirmed it. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Your first task is to find and expand that space. Practical application. The conscious break. When the cue arises. When the wave of desire comes, your first move is not to fight. It is to stop, physically. Freeze for a moment. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel the air, fill your diaphragm. With this simple action, you have already driven a wedge into the autopilot mechanism. You have created a space. Now, within that space, you become the observer. Feel the energy in your body. Where is it? Is it a heat? A pressure? Just watch it, without judgment. You are no longer the wave. You are the ocean that contains it. Once you have created the space, the contained energy is there, pulsing, waiting for an order. If you don't give it one, the old routine will try to take over again. It is here that you, as the engineer of your inner river, direct the flow to a new turbine. Energy follows attention and intention. To know where to direct the energy, use this simple guide. If the energy feels aggressive, frustrated, or full of testosterone, channel it into the body. The target is maximum physical effort. Do an intense workout. Run until your legs burn. Use this fury to break your personal records. Transform the rage into physical strength. If the energy feels inspired, focused, or full of ideas, channel it into the mind. The target is deep, creative work. Turn off all distractions and dive into your most important project. Write, code, study, create. Use the obsessive focus of desire to generate genius. If the energy feels needy, lonely, or with a yearning for connection, channel it into the heart. The target is authentic connection or service. Instead of seeking a selfish relief, overflow. Call a friend and truly listen to them. Help a family member. Perform an act of service. Transform neediness into compassion and communion. By doing this, you are not just avoiding a bad habit. You are practicing the sacred art of alchemy. You are taking the raw energy of your inner dragon and using it to fuel your kingdom. When the hero finally crosses the threshold and begins to navigate the new world with his new tools, he often feels disoriented. It is at this point in the journey that he finds his mentor. But the mentor, in this story, is not a wise old man on a mountain. The mentor is your own inner wisdom, which finally has the space to be heard. For years, the voice of your mentor was drowned out by the constant noise of the desire and release cycle. Your mind was cloudy. Now, by practicing containment and channeling, the mental fog begins to dissipate. The energy that was once wasted downward begins to rise, like an alchemical vapor that nourishes your brain and clarifies your perception. This clarity, this intuition that emerges, is the voice of your mentor. In Jungian terms, you are silencing the screams of the wounded, needy ego, allowing the voice of the self, your ordering center. Your connection to the divine to finally manifest. Practical application. How to listen to the mentor. Stimulus fast. The mentor whispers. He does not shout. To hear him, you need silence. Schedule a 30-minute stimulus fast every day. No phone, no music, no podcasts, no books. Just you and the world. Walk in nature, in silence. Sit in a room and just observe. At first, it will be a hell of anxiety. But by enduring the discomfort, you create the necessary vacuum for inner wisdom to emerge. Intuitive writing. This is a way to have a direct dialogue with your mentor. Sit down with a notebook. Write at the top a question that plagues you. Inner wisdom, what is the next step on my mission? Or what do I most need to understand about myself right now? Then, start writing the answer, without thinking, without judging, without censoring, even if it seems ridiculous. Let your hand move. You will be shocked by the depth and clarity that emerge when you allow your mentor to speak through you. The mentor will not give you all the answers. He will teach you to ask the right questions. He will remind you of the central truth of this journey. You do not need to flee from your desire. You need to give it a mission worthy of its strength. By learning to listen to this voice, you cease to be a lost adventurer and become a guided hero, ready for the true trials the journey holds. I know we've delivered a lot of tools now, and it's important to remember, crossing this threshold and learning to channel the river is not a one-day battle. It is a daily practice, full of attempts, mistakes, and small, silent victories. The best warriors do not train alone. They learn from each other in the courtyard of the dojo, sharing what works and where the difficulties lie. Think of this comment section as our digital dojo. I ask you, as a training partner, in trying to apply these first tools, the pause, the channeling, the silence, what have you discovered? For those who have already tried, What has been your greatest challenge? Is it creating that space of calm in the middle of the hurricane of desire? Or is it finding a productive channel for the energy after you've contained it? And for everyone, which of these channeling approaches resonates most with your current moment? The physical alchemy of a workout, the creative alchemy of the mind, or the connective alchemy of the heart? Be honest, your difficulty is very likely the same as hundreds of other men, and your small victory could be the inspiration someone needs to not give up today. There are no masters here, only apprentices on the same journey. Let's sharpen our blades together. After sharpening the blade in the silence of the dojo, the hero must test it in a real battle. Upon leaving the borders of your old world, you enter a territory where the laws are different. Your new energy, your new presence, begins to emit a clear signal to the universe. And the universe, like a great master, responds in two ways. It sends you trials to test your strengths and allies to support your journey. Do not think that because you have chosen the path of mastery, the journey will become easier. On the contrary, it becomes more meaningful, and meaning is often forged in the fire of adversity. The trials are not punishments. They are integrity tests. They are questions the universe asks you. Are you truly committed to this transformation, or is this just a passing fancy? These tests are rarely grandiose or obvious. They are subtle, personal, and designed to strike at your deepest weaknesses. The trial of patience. You practice channeling for weeks, and the magical results you expected do not appear. Your mind begins to doubt. Does this even work? Maybe I should just go back to the way things were. This is the test to see if you are on the path for the quick reward, or for the process of transformation itself. The hero perseveres, understanding that the strongest roots grow slowly and in the dark. The trial of solitude. As your vibration changes, you become a different musical note in the orchestra you used to play in. Friends who connected with you through complaining, distraction, or vice begin to feel uncomfortable with your new presence. The invitations dwindle. The conversations become shallow. You feel, for a time, like a stranger. This is the test to see if you have the courage to be sovereign, even if it means walking alone for a while, trusting that your new frequency will attract a new tribe. The almost there trial. You are about to close a big deal, hit a new goal in your training, have a breakthrough in your relationship, and suddenly, everything seems to fall apart. An unexpected obstacle appears out of nowhere. This is the trial of resilience. It is the universe testing whether your strength depends on external circumstances, or if it emanates from an unshakable inner source. The hero does not see the obstacle as a sign to give up, but as the final guardian of the treasure, and he moves forward with even more determination. Along with the trials of the path, the hero encounters enemies. And the most dangerous are not external people or situations, but the internal saboteurs that rise up to protect your old self. They are the personifications of your own shadow. The cynic enemy is the voice of your rational mind, which, feeling a loss of control, tries to pull you back into materialistic logic. It whispers, "This energy stuff is nonsense. You're just repressing yourself. Science says it's normal. Stop this fantasy and get back to the real world." The hero learns to hear this voice, not as a truth, but as the fear of the known in the face of mystery. The ghost enemy is the power of habit, the muscle memory of your old addiction. On a day of extreme stress, fatigue, or loneliness, it emerges with overwhelming force. It is the irrational, almost uncontrollable impulse to return to the old solution for the pain. The hero does not fight the ghost with brute force, but with the light of awareness that he trained in the dojo. He observes it, breathes, and chooses, once again, the new path. The golden enemy is the most treacherous of all. When you start to feel the benefits, the magnetism, the clarity, the strength that emerges and tells you, you've made it. You are better than the others. Look at them, still sleeping, still weak. You are on another level. This enemy tries to hijack your spiritual journey to turn it into a trophy for the ego. The hero defeats it with humility, remembering his own falls and recognizing that he is just an eternal apprentice. But the journey is not only darkness and struggle. For every enemy that arises from the shadow, the universe sends an ally from the light to balance the scales. The allies are the manifestation of synchronicity, the proof that when you align with your purpose, benevolent forces conspire in your favor. The mentor ally. It could be a book that falls into your hands with the exact answer to your biggest question. It could be a person you meet by chance, who gives you the guidance you needed. It is the universe, sending you external wisdom to complement the one you cultivate internally. The flow ally. These are those magical moments when work becomes effortless. The ideas flow, the right words appear, the solutions reveal themselves. It is your energy, now coherent and focused, entering a state of flow with the creative energy of the universe. The mirror ally. This is when you find an article, a video like this one, or read a stranger's comment that perfectly describes your struggle and your journey. It is the universe showing you that you are not alone, that there is an invisible brotherhood of other heroes on the same road. Your task, as the hero, is to learn to recognize these allies. Be grateful for them in your journal. Trust your intuition when they appear. Act on the opportunities they bring. The more you honor your allies, the more the universe sends them, ensuring that no matter how dark the night, you will always have a light to guide you. And our intention is that this knowledge, this map we are unfolding together, serves as one of those allies on your journey. If you feel that this exploration is bringing you clarity and strengthening your resolve for the path ahead, your like is your way of honoring our meeting. It is a small gesture of energetic reciprocity that signals to us that the alliance is true and that we should continue to illuminate this road. Thank you for your signal. After crossing the desert, after sharpening the blade in the dojo and winning the first battles against the ghosts of the past, the hero enters a new plateau. He has mastered his energy. His body is stronger, his mind more lucid, his focus relentless. Desire no longer commands him. He channels it with a mastery that once seemed impossible. He believes he has one dot, and it is here, at the peak of his dominion, in the silence of his new power, that the most dangerous trial of all arises. It is not a temptation that comes from the outside, screaming for his attention. It is one that comes from within, disguised as wisdom. It is the voice of the refined shadow. It doesn't arrive as the voice of the addict, desperate for relief. It arrives with the calm, seductive logic of a philosopher. It whispers, "You've proven your point. You have won. Look how much you've evolved. Now that you have control, you don't need to be so rigid." A true master does not fear the fire. He knows how to touch it without getting burned. Relax a little. Give in, just for today, not out of weakness, but out of freedom. You deserve a reward. This is the perfect trap. It is the impulse he thought he had overcome, returning with a new face. No longer dirty and compulsive, but elegant, justifiable, almost noble. It is desire, dressed up as such. It is the serpent that no longer arrives crawling, but offering the fruit of knowledge, with fragrance and irrefutable arguments. And the hero, even while aware, finds himself divided. Doubt, the most lethal of all weapons, settles in his heart. Am I still the same as before? Have I truly transformed? Or have I just been repressing myself all this time? What's the point of having all this power if I can't enjoy life? These doubts are not a sign of failure. They are the gateway to the supreme ordeal. They are the call for the final descent into the darkest cave, the direct confrontation with the root of desire itself. The hero realizes that the tools that brought him here, discipline, channeling the conscious suppression of the impulse, are not enough to defeat this new enemy. To fight this voice only makes it stronger. He must do something he has never done before. Stop fighting and start looking. He enters the cave. He sits in silence with the monster. He allows the desire, the doubt, and the discomfort to fill him, But this time, he does not act, does not flee, and does not rationalize. He just observes, with a terrifying courage, the face of his own abyss. It is in this confrontation that the true alchemy happens. Carl Jung said that the gold is not in the light, but hidden in the darkest shadow. The hero, by looking at the face of his desire, begins to ask the right questions. What do you really want? He asks his craving for pleasure. And the answer that emerges from the silence is not release. It is peace. It is acceptance. It is love. He looks at the impulse to seek external validation and asks, what are you really afraid of? And the answer is not being alone. It is not being enough. He discovers that the shadow will never be destroyed because it contains the gold. The desire does not die because it is the compass that points to his deepest wounds. The drive does not cease. It just matures. The hero understands, finally, that it is not about extinguishing the fire, but about becoming the wise keeper of his own furnace. Those who only repress will one day explode. Those who only control will one day give in from exhaustion. But he who knows his own darkness deeply learns to dance with it. It is in this recognition that true maturity is born. It is no longer about conquering temptation, but about understanding where it comes from, about looking into the void that created it, about embracing the wounded boy within himself who used pleasure as an escape from pain. And here, the hero dies for the second time. Not the body, not the impulses. What dies is the illusion that control was the end of the journey. What dies is the old I, the ego of the warrior, who prided himself on his steel-like discipline. He realizes that true mastery is not an unbending rigidity, but an eternal pact with vigilance, a daily agreement with awareness, a continuous choice for that which builds. The man who is reborn from this fire is no longer the tense warrior. He is the humble king. He does not boast of his strength, for he intimately knows the face of his own weakness. And it is precisely for this reason that he becomes truly powerful. He no longer needs to prove anything, not to others, not to himself. He is ready for the final stage of the journey, the return, not as a conqueror, but as a source. The man who returns from the fire of the supreme ordeal is different. The inner war is over. The yearning to prove something to himself or to others has dissolved. What remains is not an emptiness, but a fullness, a peace that is not passive, but potently alive. He no longer needs the tools of discipline in the same way, because discipline has become his very nature. The hero, at last, has become the master, and the elixir he brings back from the journey is not a magic potion. It is his own state of being. It is his vibration. Remember, the law of the cosmic mirror. The man who set out on the journey emitted a weak signal full of static. The man who returns is a transmission tower of pure coherence. His thoughts, his emotions, his actions, and his life force now vibrate in harmony. He has become a pure, resonant musical note in the midst of the world's chaotic noise. This is the apex of magnetism. It is no longer the magnetism of stage 5, which attracts attention and respect. It is something much deeper. It is the gravitational force of a sun. He no longer fights. He attracts. He no longer convinces with arguments. His presence embodies the truth. He no longer seduces with words. His silence is seduction itself. This happens because he has stopped wanting something from the world. The man who returns from the fire no longer carries the anxiety of being accepted, desired, or recognized. He is self-sufficient. His energy, once scattered in multiple leaks in search of validation, now pulses whole, contained, in every gesture, every look, every word. And the universal paradox is that the moment you stop needing something, the world begins to offer it to you in abundance. People turn when he enters a room, not because of his beauty or status, but because their nervous systems feel, subconsciously, the order and stability that emanate from him. He becomes a tuning fork. His coherent presence has the power to calm the anxiety of others, to silence futile conversations, to inspire depth. Inauthenticity simply cannot sustain itself in his energetic field. This magnetism, however, is no longer used for personal gain. He has no interest in that anymore. He understands that this force is the result of his alignment, and his only desire now is to maintain this attunement. The desire has converted into direction, and the direction is now one with the flow of the universe itself. He no longer lives seeking validation. He lives irradiating integrity, and it is this radiation that becomes his legacy. The final act of the hero's journey is not to enjoy the treasure alone on the mountaintop. It is to return to the village and share the elixir. But the man who has become master of himself knows that the true elixir cannot be taught with words. It cannot be sold in a course. It cannot be transmitted through a sermon. The wisdom he has won is non-transferable. So how does he share the elixir? He doesn't share it. He is it. His legacy is silent. His life becomes the teaching. He no longer needs to talk about retention, transmutation, or discipline. He is the living proof of this path's power. Whoever meets him feels it. The tone of the conversation changes. The environment adjusts. The chaos calms. There is something in his presence that educates without teaching, that heals without touching, that inspires without speech. He becomes an example, not by trying to be one, but as an inevitable consequence of his own wholeness. For younger men, he becomes a lighthouse, the proof that a different kind of masculinity, solid and present, is possible. For women, he becomes a safe harbor, a secure space of coherence and strength without aggression. For everyone, he becomes a silent call to their own depth. It is at this point that he looks back and understands. At the end of the journey, the most important truth of all, the desire was never his enemy. It was his master. It was the raw force that threw him onto the road. It was the temptation that forced him to find his discipline. It was the shadow that compelled him to seek his own light. And now, upon returning to the ordinary world, he no longer feels fear of his inner dragon. He feels gratitude. He honors it as the source of his own transformation. Thus, he fulfills his role, not as a prophet with all the answers, but as a presence with all the right questions. Not as a guru on a pedestal, but as a down-to-earth example. Not as a savior, but as an awakened man who brings with him a silent elixir. The living proof that it is possible to be whole in a broken world, and this elixir is not drunk. It is absorbed by those who see it. It is inspired by those who observe it. It is learned by those who allow themselves to feel it. The sexual energy, which at the beginning was a problem to be solved, has completed its alchemical journey. What was once drive is now compassion. What was once lack is now strength. What was once desire is now destiny. And so, the hero's journey is completed, only to begin again. Every day, within you, the map has been unfolded, the territories have been explored, and now you understand the deepest truth. Your sexual energy was never your enemy. It was just power waiting for a purpose. The dragon you feared most was, in fact, your most loyal mount. You have seen that it is possible to look at the fire that burns you and, instead of running, decide to build a forge. It is possible to take the river that drowns you and build a dam that lights up cities. This is the secret of great men, the art of internal alchemy. The discipline that seemed like a prison is, in fact, the only key to your true freedom. If this way of seeing the world, this journey of deep self-transformation, resonates with the path your soul longs to walk, then know that you have found your tribe, your meeting point. Here at Neuro Alchemy, this is not just a channel. It is our forge. The place where the neuroscience of discipline and focus meets the timeless wisdom of the alchemy of the soul. Our sole purpose is to forge men and women who refuse to be slaves to their own impulses and choose to become the sovereigns of their inner world. If you are ready to be the hero of your own story, Subscribe now so you do not walk alone, and join our community of modern Alchemists. Thank you for your courage to explore this map to the very end. Your presence is what gave this journey life. Remember, what was once your greatest challenge can now become your greatest strength. Until the next video.